you're going through this cycle, and you have to go back to your shareholders a third time for a rights issue. They're not exactly delighted.
Pleased.
The value of their shares has dropped dramatically.
Indeed.
Your colleagues at Sibanya, he made a comment that I read in the press, which was, it's about time we consolidated in the platinum industry.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and you've survived that. Tell us a little bit more about, I think you call it the near-death experience.
Yes, indeed. I think as mining companies and other companies go through these challenges, the first kind of button we closed was capital when the market got difficult in 2010. So we shut most of the expansion capital. We started going towards the replacement capital, and we could shut a bit of that. We maximized at Lonmin from what we felt were old shafts that were not as productive and high cost, and put all our money in the long-term, long asset lives, so that we minimize and rationalize our capital. So we manage capital. We started reducing fixed costs. Be it my team, before I joined Lonmin, was 8 executives. We now have 6. So we even the board, we reduced those pound fees that we pay our board members.
So one of these days you're going to make yourself irrelevant.
Maybe I just get smaller.
Not yet.
So I think we had to do that because it was critical to save the business. We committed to our shareholders when we were doing the rights issue that we're going to have to take out 6,000 jobs. And I was clear that if we didn't do that, we would lose all the 38,000 that we had then. So we engaged with the unions and made sure they understood. Having come from 6 months strike, it was a prospect that they could take us for a year strike with the 6,000 job losses. But we had worked very hard on our relationships to make sure that they understood the facts and the information and the reality of our financial circumstances. So we managed to get rid of those people, sadly, but at least without a single day of a strike. So the work we had to do was the banks had to sacrifice, so they financed us as well. The shareholders gave us cash. The employees gave up 6,000 jobs, including management. Government has to give up something. And with the aspiration of job creation, 6,000 jobs to Gwedemantashe in Lutuli was not a wonderful word to say. But actually, we can put our heads in the sand. Because if you're not making money and there's no cash for your runway, you're going to fall off. And many people can do that. In business, you can't do that. So we had to work through all those issues. And today, I'm pleased to say, we are able to come to town. We are able to talk here. Because pleasingly, we have done all the tough things in the tightening of belts that today Lonmin is sustainably able to withstand the low platinum price environment that we're going through now. And our mantra was to make sure we are cash positive, including CapEx. And that's where we are leading to. So I think our efforts to take those tough decisions have been very helpful.
Can we talk a little bit about the unions? Because you went through this strike that was absolutely protracted. You've already alluded to the fact that seems to have built some goodwill when you had to go through the unfortunate cutting of these jobs. Yeah. I mean, you've spoken a lot about trust, and you've spoken a lot about trust with employees. But if we start looking at, and I'm interested in your views, not only in the Lonmin context, but in mining in general and beyond that. If we look at what has happened, your relationship with AMCU, you spoke just now about going out with Joseph Matunjwa, visiting houses. Do you think there's been a shift in trust and collective bargaining, and what do you attribute that to?
We're still a long way from a perfect relationship. There is no doubt about it, but we have worked very hard to try and find that. But I think what we also try to do, like as I said earlier, is to make sure our managers, our supervisors, and we have training programs right now and development programs that we are starting to make sure even a supervisor understands what his role is. Because with the challenges of Marikana, the fabric of protocol and discipline were completely out of the roof. The rivalry between unions was big. So there's no doubt in my mind that the Labor Relations Act needs some amendment. Whether it's a secret ballot, whether it's this majoritarian law, and how long a strike can be, there are things to amend in there. if we're going to really find something that works continuously. But while we work on our relationships and trust, all that is quite critical. So as an industry, I think, as I said, we abdicated for a long time our responsibility to communicate directly with our employees. And returning that will give us the rightful space with our employees. And I think that's the work we are doing with them, such that it's not just the leaders who can understand, because if a leader understands your financial realities and his members, our employees, don't, you still have a problem. So it's key that we actually cover all those aspects. In the mining industry, in removing those historically single-sex hostels, and that meant 16 people living in one room, real men, it's a challenge. And we have to acknowledge that such indecent living conditions have to change. So we have finished, most mines have finished renovating those, but it meant that most of the employees then ended up walking out because there was not enough space. So there are many challenges we still have to engage on. But I think what has really, the penny has dropped around the fact that the platinum prices and commodity prices as a whole are so low. The only thing we have is relationship. We can't throw money at these problems. We can't, if the platinum price was fantastic, we could throw 12,500 to them, but they'll still be indecent, in painful accommodation. So it's important that in this tough time, we actually find ways to solve those issues so that hopefully, and when the prices come, we have created a relationship and traction on areas that we need to do. So what we have tried to do is create trust, but also create traction. So instead of saying, yes, we can't fix the living conditions overnight, but we'd better start showing progress. So there is construction undergoing, there is some moving in already to make sure they can say, all right, so my turn is coming, and the company is trying, and they care about me. And those things will make a difference. And that's what I believe is helping us make a difference. You talk about 6-month strike. When I joined Lonmin July 2013, and the strike started January 2014. And by June 2013, when I was celebrating my first year at Lonmin, I had only dug for 6 months.
Yeah, it's a lot of time in boardrooms trying to talk to people.
And it was on strike. So just finding common ground, sharing information, making sure that we understand the realities has been quite critical. And that's what has stood us in good stead when we started thinking and executing the 6,000 jobs that we retrenched.